Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Good morning, my neighbors!
I'm ready to go in, Coach. Just give me a chance.
Cake! Everybody loves cakes.
You love me. You really love me.
I'm gonna lick me a rainbow.
I mean, your boobs are huge.
I am not crazy. I want my cougar.
Have you ever had a Red Bull? I never had a Red Bull before, but I had a Red Bull last night. I really like Red Bull.
I'm Gumby, damn it!
It's party time! Of course I want a latte.
I love the way you make them.
Man, it's the mob. It's the mob. The whole other team is run by the mob.
Let's see that in an instant replay.
What y'all looking at? I ain't had no cake.
No big deal.
I want some chips, that's all. All I want some chips. Turn that over, man, it's burning. It's burning, turn it over, it's burning. I just want some chips.
Thank you for all your cooperation. By the way, do you have a mint?
Parfaits are delicious.
I'm making waffles.
Exercise the demons.
I can see! I have legs!
Somebody stop me.
Tomorrow, I'll come back home tomorrow when the coast is clear.
Alrighty then.
Jim Carrey!
Eddie Murphy!
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Hey everybody, welcome back to What the Hell Happened to Them. This season, a title match is brewing. In this corner, we have how much do you think Eddie Murphy weighs?
160.
In this corner, weighing 160 pounds, the SNL champ, Eddie Murphy. And in this corner, weighing a similar amount of weight.
He's taller, so I would say he's probably like a 190.
190, the man of a million facial expressions, Jim Carrey.
Oh, damn.
And, well, let me get to my co-host here. I'll explain in detail how this season's going to work. We have a loose cannon co-host with nothing left to lose, Joe Vekeman.
Hey, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
This cannon's loose.
And on the audio boards is Lev Van Rensselaer reminding me to remind you that you can email the cast at whathappenedtothamcast@gmail.com. And our sponsor this week is cream porn. I'm not reading this, Lev. I'm not going into that.
Excuse me?
I'm not.
What?
No. I have my limits. I'm not doing that one. Okay, yes. This season, Murphy versus Carrey. Trying something a little different, kind of like last time. This season, aside from just going through one actor's catalog and kind of figuring their place in the Hollywood system, we're kind of pitting these two against each other. How are they doing with respect to each other, along with their place in the Hollywood ecosystem at the time that they're made?
Two huge comedy icons.
Yeah.
Here you go.
And I don't think they've never been in a movie together, right?
I don't think so, which is very weird.
And I was also thinking, I'm like, oh, I don't know if Adam Sandler's been in a movie with either of these guys either.
There's no way we would have covered it.
I guess so. Well, he might have been in, like, Adam Sandler did like 2 minutes of that Top 5 movie from Chris Rock. Maybe Eddie Murphy could have been in that.
I don't think Eddie Murphy, as we'll find out, takes a weird sabbatical in the late aughts and is just like, I don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I made so much fucking money off those Shrek movies.
Yeah.
And then Jim Carrey's like, guys, I will do this for as long as you'll have me. And they were like, we don't want you anymore. And they're like, okay, bye. So he leaves too.
Well, I hear they were like, he retired, but now they're like, trying to bring him back as Sonic 3. And I was like, we're doing more of those? Okay.
He did 2 Sonic movies.
I know, and now I guess he's going to do a third one.
He will be doing contractually obligated.
Okay. Well, there you go. We were kind of having a tough time picking between which one to do next, and then we're still trying to shake things up every now and then. So I'm like, well, let's just pit them head to head and kind of do a a title match at the end of the season and see who's kind of how their careers have stacked up. So,
all right, first episode. Who do you think's going to win? Who's going to have the better amount of films? Like, there's more.
What do you mean by better amount?
Well, there's more greatness
good
to
films?
this. Yes, there's more to enjoy.
This is a really hard question.
Yeah, because there's a lot of slog in there too, but there's some good.
I know, like
Who's going to have more slog?
I think it's going to be Jim Carrey. I think you think it's going to be Eddie Murphy.
You think Jim Carrey's going to have a better
I think Jim
filmography?
Carrey's going to have a slightly better. I think what we're going to find is both of them have many comedies that have not aged well.
Oh.
And both of them, somewhere along the line, took a sudden and crazy dip in quality. I'm going to lean a little on the Carrey side, I think. Because we're mostly talking about Eddie Murphy today. We'll get into Jim Carrey's kind of history and our history with him when we get to his first movie. My memory of Eddie Murphy was really funny before my time, and then had kids and then started to make a bunch of crappy, like, Haunted Mansion things after, when my time came up. So I'm just expecting a long
crappy.
stretch
Have
of
you
those.
seen The Haunted Mansion?
No, of course I haven't.
I haven't either. It probably is crappy, but, until we've seen it, let's not judge it.
And I've only seen, like, one Shrek movie, and I haven't seen it since.
I've seen 2 Shreks.
Yes, out of the 8 or whatever.
I think there's 4, maybe 5. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, jeez.
We also have some holiday specials.
Thinking back, I haven't seen too many Eddie Murphy films.
Yeah, me neither have I.
I really know him from SNL reruns that would, from like the 4 years he was on.
I had no idea he was on that long.
I went back and actually, I'm slowly kind of going back through his stuff, through his SNL stuff. And I started with, his first credited appearance. He starts on season 6 in 1980, which is famous for being this terrible, terrible year. That's so bad they have to, like, blow out the cast halfway through the season. He didn't get a featured credit until, like, episode 4, so I watched that episode. The cast is full of, as they're going through, I know nobody. I've heard of not one of those names except for Eddie Murphy and Gilbert Gottfried.
Wow. Iago himself.
Gilbert Gottfried, that was, like, he was kind of funny. And then I watched another episode later in the season because it had Karen Black as the host.
Oh, what?
Who did Dynamite in there.
That's good.
They even did a segment kind of spoofing off of 5 Easy Pieces. I'm like, oh, nice of you to reference that. And she, like, does the Jack Nicholson monologue in it, and it was at the diner and stuff. Thought that was pretty... But anyway, at that point, Gilbert Gottfried seems to know that the season isn't going well, and he's just, like, looking more and more forlorn
Damn.
as the episodes went on. So I'm not surprised, because I'm like, who are you? None of you guys are funny. At least in the early weird seasons, you'd be, like, anarchic, and you'd be, like, sticking it to the man. So at least when the jokes didn't work out, you were, like, trying to be edgy or trying something new, and that's why they didn't work out. This one, like, you just wrote bad. You wrote poorly.
You wrote poorly.
Yeah. I guess Lorne Michaels had left the year before, and they brought in a new producer, and he wanted to bring in a whole new cast. So all the Gilda Radners and the Jane Curtins and the Dan Aykroyds, they're all gone and stuff.
Bill Murray's gone, too, right?
Bill Murray's gone.
Chevy Chase, he left a while ago.
Everybody was fully gone, all new people. They all pretty much sucked. And then there was Eddie Murphy and kind of Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, yeah. Sandler and Murphy were on SNL. They weren't on the same time, though. No way.
No.
Sandler was a kid.
Yeah, Sandler probably on 8 years after Eddie leaves.
Damn, okay.
But those are like, I remember him being Gumby. I remember him being like the Mr. Rogers neighborhood parody thing. I thought was really funny.
He recently went back, I think it was a year or two ago.
I saw that. He did really good there. He did the Gumby thing again. They did like the updated Mr. Rogers stuff. They might have had him do a Stevie Wonder thing too. Yeah, so that's where I remember him from. I didn't really watch a lot of his movies. I might have seen like Bowfinger.
I have seen Bowfinger, but that was recent.
I've seen like portions of Beverly Hills Cop because it was just like always on cable at random times. I don't even know which Beverly Hills clips I've seen because there are 3 movies or whatever.
There are 3. There will be. Do you know? You're going to find out about it eventually.
Is they doing another one?
Yeah. He's
having like a resurgence.
This summer, on Netflix. Oh, yeah, I know. I heard.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Beverly Hills Cop 4. We hardly knew you. It's so sad no one's going to watch you. I'm so sorry, Eddie.
Yeah, everyone will say they watched it, but no one will have actually experienced it. That's the Netflix.
So I never had really a strong affinity with Eddie Murphy. What is your background with Eddie Murphy?
So I knew about Eddie Murphy. I knew about Beverly Hills Cop. I had never seen it. Like I think I watched that in the last couple of years too for the first time. I've only like heard really of like the myth of Eddie Murphy and the legend of Eddie Murphy. And then I saw my first Eddie Murphy movie, The Nutty Professor. I guess my mom thought that was okay to watch.
I didn't see The Nutty Professor, but I was taken to see The Nutty Professor 2.
Oh, the clumps.
Somebody had to cover my eyes when somebody was getting like humped by a giant gerbil or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about that when we have to. I just took a little quick look at his filmography and I'm like, oh, interesting. Didn't expect that. But so yeah, I watched The Nutty Professor, and then my dad definitely rented The Nutty Professor. I mean, these are all like rented on DVD or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
And then I saw Dr. Dolittle, I believe, in the theater.
Okay.
And that was my first like in theater Eddie Murphy experience. And I was like, I like when he talks to the animals. This is funny. I mean, there's a dog and there's a turtle that he talks to, and that's a good time. And then there's a bear. There's a big bear. Unless I'm thinking of the second one, and maybe I didn't see the first one in the theater. And maybe I never saw the first one at all. Maybe I only have seen the second one, and that was the experience I've had.
Well, there are 2 Dr. Dolittles?
There are 2, and there are so many spinoffs with his kids.
Really?
He's not in.
Is one of his kids Robert Downey Jr.?
Why?
Didn't he do a Dr. Dolittle movie?
Oh, yeah. His Dr. Dolittle, yeah, that was just called Dolittle. I don't know if he was a doctor. Don't know if he has PhD.
Not legally a doctor.
Yeah. And that came out right like a month before the pandemic, and I feel like it was Patient Zero.
Yeah.
That movie.
I remember it coming out and being like, this is what you want to do with your post-Avengers life, Robert.
Yeah, with all the money you have.
You get to do the fun movies now. You don't have to do the paycheck movies anymore. You're set. What are you doing this?
I think he quickly realized that after that movie came out, bombed, and then he had time to re-energize after the pandemic was winding down. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I guess I'll finally take my Oscar that has been waiting for me for the last 30 years.
From a movie that also has big pockets.
Big pockets.
Like, I think he got paid well on Oppenheimer.
Oh, of course, yeah.
He didn't even like go to do like the little artsy thing, slumming it for like whatever minimum.
Yeah, but his part is in
minimum.
black and white, so he can say it's artsy. Okay, let's get back to Eddie though.
All right. I watched the famous Delirious comedy special in preparation.
What? Okay, that one's...
They just had it on YouTube.
Okay, that one's okay to watch, but you can't watch Raw because that was a theatrical movie, and we will be covering that on this.
Oh.
Don't watch that one.
Okay. I won't.
I'm looking at it right now. Delirious is not on there, but Raw was a theatrical movie, so we have to cover it. That's going to be rough. How is Delirious?
Well, yeah.
Tough?
So there are still many funny parts.
I'm sure.
There are also some parts, as I had feared, that had not aged well.
Yeah. I'll check it out.
It notably opens up with him being like, I like to have my butt so the gay people can't see it. And I was like, okay.
Fucking hell. God damn it. That's how he starts it?
That's how he started it out. Giant applause from the audience. They also, because the special was so old, it's older than even his first movie.
Yeah.
The understanding was, like we saw in Normal Heart, only the gays could get AIDS.
AIDS, yeah. Wow.
So there was talks about that too. But ironically, probably the most offensive thing he talked about to modern audiences was like a joke about his dad kicking a dog.
You know what? I see what you mean, and it's all bad. I don't like any of it. But, comedy's always difficult because it never ages well.
I know. He made some amusing Reagan topical jokes.
Yeah.
But he does like a lot of impressions, and you're like, well, you're going to be utilizing that pretty soon.
Oh, absolutely.
Overall, okay, just some moments you probably wouldn't have on the re-release.
Yeah. And that's another thing between these two guys, Jim Carrey and Eddie Murphy. Big impressionist guys. Like, they have their bag of impressions.
Does Jim Carrey do impressions, or does he do voices like Sandler?
No, he does both. I feel like we can find some of his stand-up stuff, and he's like doing like Jimmy Stewart. He's doing like presidents and stuff like that too. He's got his own.
Maybe I'll try to
stuff.
find some of that. I didn't know he did a lot of stand-up, so
I saw a clip of it on Twitter a couple weeks back where his face changes into like Clint Eastwood's face, and he's like moving around. It's really.
He's got the rubber face.
Yeah. He might even be off of that one. I'm not sure.
Hi, well, what's the movie we're doing this week for Eddie Murphy's first feature debut?
His debut film is in the classic Walter Hill buddy cop action movie, 48 Hours. Hell fucking yeah.
What happens in this movie before?
What happens? I thought you'd never ask. A hard-nosed cop reluctantly teams up with a wisecracking criminal temporarily paroled to him in order to track down a killer.
Yeah, so I knew nothing of this movie. You had said you'd seen it before.
Great movie. You don't like it? I'm telling you.
I knew nothing of it, so I was expecting Eddie Murphy's first foray into film in the middle of his SNL run to be a comedy. And then we open up with this kind of like pretty cool, jazz, like aggressive jazz music. And there's like prisoners working on the line, prison guards walking around with shotguns. And I go, it's not feeling like we're getting a comedy here. And sure enough, we get like Eddie Murphy's bulletproof thing.
I just want to double check because it reminded me the entire time. It had to be him. It is him. So he reused a lot of his score from this movie, or at least a lot of like little pieces of it, to his score in Commando. I'm talking about James Horner, because there's a lot of like steel drums going on. Did you hear this? Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah,
I love it.
I like the music. Music was good.
The note he took in Commando was like, all steel drums? And I'm like, yes. So it's like Arnie hanging out with the deer, and he's like petting the deer, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. It's so good.
So I thought it was weird, like, why would you want to cast this guy? But like Adam Sandler did a similar thing, right? It was just like race reversed in his early career. So I was talking Bulletproof.
Oh, that's a terrible movie.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, okay, so yeah, like nobody knows these guys are going to be stars yet. They don't have the starring role in these films.
Can you imagine,
trying to like get started in the Hollywood system?
But if Bulletproof was actually successful, Adam Sandler's career would have nosedived. There's no way he would have been able to pivot out of that. They would have been like, oh, we're just going to throw you with everybody now. And I'm like, no. Let him do his Waterboy thing. Just give him a second.
The thing about both of those roles is these actors were brought in to be kind of like comic relief.
Yeah.
Especially for Sandler.
Sandler wasn't very successful in that. Eddie Murphy's he's got a couple of funny things in this, but I don't find this movie very funny. I think it's great.
Not. He's just the lighter side
movie.
of it. He's like, I don't know, because Nick Nolte's so fudge face in this movie. You know,
yeah.
He's like,
I find Nolte kind of funny.
And so Eddie Murphy's going to be like the lighter one. And he's like, I just got to get some pussy, man. Give me some pussy.
I guess that would be considered more of a comedic like gesture back then. And I'm like, just shut up. In due time, my friend, in due time.
Yeah, I think that was the balancing act between the two guys. So as the movie went on, it got less weird to me as I started thinking back to Bulletproof. I'm like, all right, yeah, okay, it makes sense. He hasn't popped off yet, Hollywood-wise, you know?
Yeah. So much to talk about with this movie. So this is credited, I think, I don't know if you know, I thought you might know, as being the first in the buddy cop genre.
The first?
The first. The only movie that people say it might predate it is Richard Rush's. Hey, remember him?
Mm-hmm, I do.
Freebie and the Bean, a movie I watched, I think, 2 years ago now. It's an Alan Arkin.
Not heard of that movie at all.
And, oh God, Alan Arkin and James Caan. It's basically a buddy cop. That movie came out on Christmas? Fuck. Because that's more hard edged than this one. I guess there's a couple of lighter moments because there's some funny car chases in it. But
yeah,
it's a great movie. You should check it out. Richard Rush.
Freebie and the Bean.
Unsung hero. Freebie and the Bean. Yes. I think it might be on Tubi.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. I liked it so much that I bought it on a DVD or a Blu-ray.
Oh, wow. I'll keep that in mind then as it being kind of, because as I'm watching, I go we're just doing the buddy cop thing. That would be a staple of the 80s. I'll be a little nicer to it knowing that it's essentially breaking new ground. There's this other one, I guess, but I won't get too in the weeds on that.
Yeah.
Because it is, the whole formula's here.
Yep.
It is the whole bulletproof thing. It's all...
Oh, absolutely.
By the numbers. It was...
Cop works with a convict, right?
Yeah, and they at odds with each other, but then they learn to work together, and then they solve the crime, and... The police chief gets mad at them because they went a little too far and not getting the right results.
It's everything that you're saying. It's all in there, and it's this is where it comes from.
Well, so is this movie successful? Is that why everybody copied it all the time?
Yeah. $12 million budget, $78.9 million box office.
Oh, all right.
It is, so it received widespread acclaim from critics. It launched Murphy's film career and earned him a Golden Globe nomination for New Star of the Year actor. That award does not exist anymore. And it's just great. It's great. Do you love Nolte? Let's talk about a little bit on Nolte. Give me some. What's your relationship with Nolte?
Well, my relationship with Nolte is seeing him with Julia Roberts, and I guess they got in pissing matches a lot.
That's it? You never watched a Nolte?
I'm sure I have, but it has not stood out. Sexiest Man Alive, Nick Nolte, of course.
Absolutely. For Barbara, he got that the year he worked with Barbara Streisand.
Oh,
The Prince of Tides. Yeah, 1991.
Yeah, what a sexy movie.
He was also in Cape Fear that year. Very, very handsome in
also
that.
Sexy.
God, what a run he had. Cape Fear, The Prince of Tides, Lorenzo's Oil, The Player. Blue Chips.
I saw The Player.
And then in between Blue Chips is I'll Do Anything and I Love Trouble. I'm oh.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear that voice singing. That's my goal.
He's got a great voice. It's not as gravelly in this yet because he's still pretty young.
It sounded aggressively gravelly.
It's not that gravelly.
I almost thought he was doing a voice or something.
So he's what? He's 41 years old in this movie. He looks incredible for 41. He looks great.
He looks 40.
He is a sexy 41-year-old man.
He's wandering around with his Blake Clark voice and his Trump hair, and it was a very odd sight.
Blake Clark.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a Nolte? Can you do a Nolte voice?
No.
It's more no, because you say it's gravelly. It gets way more gravelly in the 90s. The 80s,
It gets more gravelly than this.
I can't do his. He's not gonna say Eddie. His name's not Eddie in the movie.
Eddie, yeah, N-word, get over here.
Oh God, yeah, no, that sucks. Young Jonathan Banks. What about him? That's fun.
Jonathan Banks.
Yeah, Jonathan Banks from Better Call Saul, from Breaking Bad.
Who is he in this movie?
He's the cop that gets shot on the stairs, and he's like, "Don't do it."
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
man.
got some nice brown hair.
Yeah, I guess I'm not used to seeing him with hair. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love this movie. It's short.
It was short, but also there were times where I'm like, oh, it must be done soon, and then it was longer than I thought. And I go, oh, really? Okay, where do they?
Where do you think it? You think it sat for a little bit, trudging along? What parts dragged for you?
I guess there were just times where I'm like, I don't know where you go from here, and I guess it found stuff. It wasn't bad. When I saw it, was like, oh, it's only going to be an hour and 37 minutes. I'm like, we're going to fly, and I guess there were parts where it felt like, oh, are we done yet? Are we going to go back to those girls? Okay, well, at least they weren't useless, I guess. I would give this movie 2 stars, I think, in my weird rating system.
A genre-defining movie.
I know. Well, that's why I'm trying to now contextualize it differently.
Give it an extra half in there for
Yeah,
making up a
right?
whole genre. It gave a lot of people some food on their table.
It stole it from the Free Bean. What was that movie called?
Freebie and the Bean.
Freebie and the Bean. Okay, there we go. Well, the movie does not pass the Bechdel test.
Didn't think it would. Can I give you some trivia facts on this? James Remar, who played Gans, the real bad guy.
The bad guy, yeah.
I would call him the most bad guy.
Okay.
Often went without any sleep before shooting his scenes in order to give bad guy Gans a more washed out psychotic look. That's commitment.
He's doing the Heath Ledger thing.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out for James Remar. We can definitely say from history it did not work out for Heath Ledger. Although,
yeah, he got an
recognition.
Oscar.
Where is he to celebrate it?
Up in heaven, obviously, Joe.
We hope.
Or Buddha heaven.
Buddha heaven?
Yeah, well, he got a big old Buddha belly, and he's like, namaste.
I did not know that's where you were going with that. Here's some Eddie Murphy stuff. According to Eddie Murphy, he was almost fired for not being funny. He said he was not made aware of his.
So they did want him to be
until after the movie had wrapped.
They did want him to be the comic relief.
I mean, he's singing Roxanne in his introduction. That's fun. That's a cool introduction.
I'm just saying, you were like, I don't know if he's that funny. Well, apparently the producers didn't think he was that funny either, but that was the goal.
I don't know. I just didn't find him that funny in them. He's a funny man. He's definitely funny.
I mean, there weren't like a lot of jokes. It was really more of like his demeanor was like light and loose, and he was like gravelly noir detective guy.
You know, it's funny because I watched a movie that I had never really thought was funny. I just enjoyed it because I think it is the hottest any person has ever looked in their entire life. And it is Robert De Niro with a little bit of dirt on his face in 1987 in Midnight Run.
I like that movie.
Nothing compare. That movie is so good.
Movie's a very fun movie.
And I was like, I never laughed at it before. And then I watched some behind the scenes stuff where De Niro was being interviewed like 5 or 6 years ago. And he's like, yeah, they called it a comedy. I didn't really laugh. And I'm like, thank you, De Niro. But then I don't
listen. Chris and I watched that in high school because he owned that movie. And I laughed like nonstop during that movie. It was one of the funnier movies I've seen.
And that's the thing, though. Before, I would have said, thank you, De Niro.
I see.
And but it's only on this time did I actually laugh at scenes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe it's because I got the rhythm down a little more. I don't know. Maybe I was just like more passively watching it the other time, or I watched it 2 other times, like spread out. But this time, oh my God, did it sing all the way? And I'm like, good Lord. So now not I'm only watching it for like the thirst watch for De Niro. I'm like, this is just a great movie.
I'm pro Midnight Run.
It's a great movie. And it is a Martin Brest movie, and we will also be doing a Martin Brest movie on this. Do you know which one that is?
No.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, that's him. Okay.
Did you know that was his first movie, I believe? No.
I did not know.
It wasn't. I'm correcting myself.
Well, then I'm glad I didn't know that. It seemed odd that Nolte's girlfriend never mattered. Do you think that was just like meant to be a character note for us? That never really got resolved or went anywhere.
That she never mattered? It's a character note?
No, I think like it's she just purely as a character note for Nick Nolte.
Yeah, it's probably like a studio note that's saying, hey, make this guy more relatable. Have him have a girlfriend or something.
Yeah, just keeps nagging him all the time.
He doesn't have to actually like love her, but he needs to like have someone like have like a moral compass. I don't know. Like
he never even talks. He barely talks to Eddie about her.
He's a bad boyfriend.
He's a bad boyfriend, and he doesn't try to make it up at the end. There's not even like the case is over and he could finally arrest him. The first thing he does is like hang out with Eddie. It also was interesting to note the differences in our opinions towards policing in the 4 intervening decades.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the things they're doing now we're like, yeah, but now we'd be like, well, you've gone a little too far and breaking some laws or something.
I mean, it's true. Because back to the buddy movie thing, the director said he is amused when people call this a buddy movie because the 2 leads hate each other. And they like start to like each other at the end. That's kind of the formula. Like they don't like each other at the beginning, and then they
that's what makes it a buddy
don't
cop.
fall in love. But they're like,
They never start off as friends. That would be a boring movie.
where I think Freebie and the Bean, they're like partners, and they're like, we don't hate each other, but God, you drive me crazy. That's the vibes in that.
Okay.
It's like a a spouse thing. Oh God, this guy again. All right, we'll do this.
I will also say the chase scene at the end in Chinatown offered that opportunity for some interesting lighting as well.
I don't know what that is, and I don't even want to quote it.
Okay.
It's just it's weird. I don't know. I'll tell you, and we can just cut it out because I don't know what this is. It says, according to AllMovie, which what kind of reputable source is AllMovie? The movie greatly bolstered the career of Nick Nolte and made comedian Eddie Murphy a bona fide box office sensation. Murphy's debut in this movie, like Lauren Bacall's in To Have and Have Not, is considered one of the most sensational debuts in screen history.
I would not have left this movie thinking I was going to see Eddie Murphy for the next 40 years.
Really?
Especially in comedies. Not that he was bad in it. It just was fine. It didn't feel like a star-making performance to me. So I was surprised earlier when you said he won that award, too.
Yeah. Well, no, he was only nominated. He didn't actually win.
Okay. All right.
Who else that year could have won it? I want to know now. It's because it's just like, in retrospect, you're like, well, it's got to be Murphy. You know what? I think it's just been kind of like inceptioned in my head that this was his star-making performance, so it is already in my mind, and I can't unsee it, that it was like, oh, this is like a giant star-making performance. But if I went in cold like you, I'm like, yeah.
It's also weird that his star-making performance was not in the genre that he's a star of.
Yeah. He does a lot of cop movies in the 80s.
Yeah, but like at least the
like
the
a
Beverly Hills
lot.
Cops are comedies. I mean, it probably helps that he's
Are
on.
they? Okay, that's what we're going to get talking about soon. Because are they? I don't laugh at them. I've watched 2 of them. I don't want to watch the third. We will have to watch the third.
We'll have to watch the third.
Mickey Rourke, Sylvester Stallone, and Burt Reynolds turned down the role of Jack Cates. Can you imagine those 3?
That's the Nick Nolte role?
Yes, in that role.
Give me those
against
again.
Eddie. Mickey
Sylvester
Rourke
Stallone.
and Burt Reynolds.
Mickey Rourke?
I know.
I don't know if I would
Is
have
it because
liked any
Diner?
of
Do you remember Diner?
that. No.
Barry Levinson. Wait, Mickey Rourke was in 1941? He's in Heaven's Gate?
I mean, the movie's 3 hours. You might have missed him somewhere in there.
I think it's more than 3 hours. Diner. I like Diner. You should watch Diner.
Tom's Diner.
No, just regular Diner. No, Diner is Steve Guttenberg, Mickey Rourke, Kevin Bacon, and Daniel Stern. But yeah, I guess then that's the same year, so that's why he probably turned it down. He's like, I'm gonna be in this movie that's gonna go towards me. I don't know. I don't think he would. Mickey Rourke, he's an odd character. I don't know if I would have liked him in this.
I don't hate the Nolte casting in this.
I love the Nolte casting.
I don't know if I'd pick anybody else over him. He made sense to me.
Eddie Murphy didn't start work on this film until a few days into principal photography as he was finishing season 7 of SNL.
Yeah, okay, that's the second season. Okay, that time's out.
The film was originally conceived in the 1970s as a vehicle for Clint Eastwood as the cop and Richard Pryor as the con. That sounds incredible. Eastwood wanted to play a criminal, turned down the film, and starred as a convict in Escape from Alcatraz.
That would be kind of funny if they're like, all right, well, then Richard Pryor will be the cop, and you will be the convict.
I mean, yeah. This is the first time I've seen this fact brought up. The word fuck is used 48 times in various forms during the course of this film.
Is that a little? Is that a lot? Oh, because it's 48 hours. Well played,
Yeah,
writers.
this appears to be only coincidental to the title, however.
All right.
I was right. I was so right. James Horner reused the film's opening theme with more craftiness than Commando. Jeff Bridges turned down the role of Jack Cates as he didn't want to be in a cop movie. He later worked with director Walter Hill and Wild Bill.
Just refused any cop movie.
I guess.
It's an odd hill to die on.
Jeff Bridges was doing like Tron. Chris Christopherson was at one point considered for the role of Jack Cates. Sure it was. Oh, debut feature film as a full producer for Joel Silver. Hell yeah. Apparently Walter Hill met Eddie Murphy during a recording of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it is. I guess if you were thinking about Richard Pryor already, you were already looking at comedians. So I guess it's not that odd then that you would see this guy on SNL, who really at that point would have only had, I guess, half a good year, because he didn't really get to do much in season 6, though he was a bright spot. So it's season 7 he gets to kind of pop off, but then you've also got to cast him. You're starting principal photography at the end of the season, so you've probably already made the decisions around Christmas time. It's just like Whoopi, where they're like, look at this hilarious lady on stage. She could play a very strong dramatic role.
What was the body count in this, do you know?
I'm doing it real quick in my head. 5.
9.
9?
A lot of dead people.
I guess I forgot about all the people in the first scene. There's 3 or 4, so I might have missed one in the movie proper. Oh, because of the other guy, the guy on the park bench. I forgot about him, too.
Oh, yeah, his friend. That little squirrely guy. You know what I'm talking about when I say squirrely guy? He's got the girlfriend, and then Oh, that guy. Yeah, that guy I knew. The guy who got shot in the bus. I knew him. Yeah. He's got a lot of crazy energy. I've never really seen him before, though.
He just feels like he's tweaking on whatever, heroin or something.
Something's going on. David Patrick Kelly. He is 73 years young. Oh, he has a recurring role on The Blacklist. Is that still going?
That can't still be going.
Oh, thank God it ended last July.
A breezy 13 seasons or whatever.
10 years. It was on from 2013 to 2023. Who watched it? 218 episodes. Holy hell. When that show came on, I was like, this chunk. Wow. Prestige TV. We're over. And then, it really was over because it went on for 10 fucking seasons. He's in Twin Peaks.
Which guy?
David Patrick Kelly, Luther. That's where I've seen him. He's in The Revival and in the Twin Peaks regular seasons. He's also in Wild at Heart, Chirac, Malcolm X.
So he's just a David Lynch guy.
Yeah.
There was another guy in this movie from Twin Peaks for like 5 seconds.
Who is it? Tell me.
When Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte have their big fight and these 2 random cops come over to like break them up, one of them is like that assassin chef guy.
Assassin?
Yeah, he's like the criminal, but he's like married to the diner lady.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I guess he's not an assassin, but he's like undercover criminal in hiding.
Just love the idea of an assassin chef.
That's the Ratatouille 2.
He'll kill you, but he'll give you a good meal beforehand.
You think if they made a Ratatouille 2, it would be like Ratatouille?
I mean, I don't have any faith in Disney like being that clever with their titling because they called Inside Out 2 just that.
What if they called it Outside In?
What if they thought of something for more than 2 minutes?
No.
Let it go around the table before they say we're with this one. This is the one.
All right, I got a little football around the world for you, Joe.
Football round the world.
Give it to me.
All right, you ready for this one? We watched last year's Doghead Fish Electric Football World Championships.
Excuse me? Doghead Fish Head?
Doghead Fish Electric Football. Doghead Fish, the beer thing.
Oh.
Sponsoring the Electric Football World Championship. You know what electric football is, Joe?
No.
It's like a vibrating table, and you put like football players on. You turn on the vibration, and it like makes them move so they run a play.
Oh. No one's getting hurt in that. That's fine.
When you set up a throw or a kick after you run the play, then you bring on a little like flexi arm dude, and you try to like flick it at the receiver.
Did you do this?
No, I didn't play it.
Oh, okay.
No. I watched it on YouTube.
Jesus.
The championship was played between...
Who made you watch this?
We just watched we're watching football around the world. It was happening in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Okay, you say we. Who is with you?
Well, Mr. Paul Giamatti, of
Oh,
course.
okay. All right. You're in good company. Okay, good.
The championship was played between some guy named Jimbo and some guy named Hulk.
Not surprised.
They had like real names, but the
Sure they did.
nicknames were what were standing out to me more.
Yeah.
Jimbo ran away with it. It was a 9-0 score at the end.
Embarrassing.
Defensive slugfest. It was 9-0 at the end of the half, and then just nothing for the second half.
Wow.
Defense was too strong for Jimbo.
Hulk was no match.
There you go, electric football, which we did some research because we could not figure out how to play the game, and I still don't think I know fully.
Yeah.
But the game's, I guess, been around since like the 40s or something, so...
They figured out vibrations in the 40s?
Yeah, they were like, oh, these earthquake things. How do we salvage those for our own entertainment purposes?
I just didn't know they were like allowed to be that bored back then.
Maybe it was like after World War II and they're like, shit, we got nothing to do now. Now that we're not making cans anymore.
Yeah. What's with these cans? Like the Super Bowl's like this weekend. And you're watching
Yeah.
vibrating football.
This is how we prepared ourselves for the big game.
Yeah. I watched the
electric
Celtics.
football world championships. All right. We're going to do Eddie Murphy's biography next year.
Next week.
Next week when we do his follow-up film. So let's do Last Looks here.
Last looks. Eddie Murphy. Welcome to Hollywood, baby.
I mean, he was on SNL. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, but he's a huge star now. Overnight.
a little surprised
felt like.
by it. But, I mean, it helps that the movie was a big hit and invented a
Huge
genre.
hit. Yeah, it's one of the highest grossing movies of that
He
year.
was a likable part of the movie. He wasn't dead air. He wasn't
not
trudging
at all.
through it. He was fun to watch. I just wouldn't have thought, like, this is a guy I'm going to know I don't know. I just didn't think he was going to be like a $500 million man later on, you know?
Well, that was like Shrek.
Yeah.
Shrek helped with that.
Yes, but you could then argue that this movie helped him get Shrek.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because if he's just stuck in TV, like, I don't know.
I think the adventures of Pluto Nash made Eddie Murphy say, fuck, I gotta do something. I need a hit. I'm just kidding. I think he had plenty of hits back then.
Cartoons are easy. He just goes into like a booth and hangs out for a couple days. Takes no time.
Are you saying it takes no time to make some waffles? It's the only line I remember he says is something about waffles. I remember that was like a huge line in the trailer, and it like everyone was like, "That's the line," and I'm like, "That's the line."
That's the line. That one I remember, and I remember about parfaits. Everybody likes parfaits.
Oh, and the onions. The onions.
Yeah, because they like onions, and he's like, "Nah, people don't like onions. People like cakes." And he goes, "No, they're not like cakes. Cakes got frosting. No, they're not like cakes. They're like onions. What about parfaits? Everybody loves parfaits." I got a parfait story I'll say when we get to that.
I can't wait.
My big market tease for the Shrek episode.
In October.
Yes, in 8 months. Buckle up. It's like when I had my grown-up story in our first season. I'm like teasing you the whole time.
That was a long time. It was being teased.
Yeah, because we took giant breaks in between, like twice.
like a couple of years.
It was 2 years to get to grown-ups. All right. Why does Eddie Murphy do this movie? Well, because he's fucking doing SNL, and he's only been on SNL really for a year-ish when he gets offered the
This is a great
role.
opportunity for Eddie.
So of course he's going to do the movie. Why the fuck not?
Step right up.
And it was a pain in the ass for him to try to get onto SNL. Like, he had to sort of tooth and claws nail just to get an audition after they had already cast everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, the people that you've never heard of. He's hungry for the jobs. He'll take them. And you know what? It wasn't even that bad of a movie. It was a perfectly fine film. It's totally 80s film.
So fucking rude. It's a genre-defining movie.
A genre-defining
Nick Nolte
film.
He's not at the peak yet.
At
but
his
he's climbing up the
sexiest.
mountain. He's climbing up the mountain.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's also there's such different heights. I never realized how short Eddie Murphy was next to Nick Nolte, especially. I know Nick's a big guy.
Well, we got to see him next to Tom Cruise. Then we really know.
Probably the same height.
Oh, geez, that is tiny.
Maybe a little taller. Let's give it an inch or two.
Sean Penn.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to thank, I'm not reading the sponsor, Lev. Thanks for getting him, but I don't think you actually tried very hard. But I will thank Lev Van Rensselaer for minding those audio boards and keeping us sound so slippery smooth and putting together our fun season opener, as he does each and every year. I'd like to thank Joe Vekeman for stopping by.
No, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this new season. We're trying something out. We hope it goes well. We appreciate you for listening. Now this is our 6th season. 6 seasons we've done, yeah. The number's a little off because I have filed the Adam Sandler remixes as its own season 2 to help keep things ordered. So it's technically 7, but I count those as part of the Sandler season. So 6th season. We appreciate you for listening for all this time. We'll hopefully do a lot more, but we're very excited for this season. It's good to get back to our comedy roots on our podcast.
Yeah, SNL roots.
And with actors that have made a lot of groan-worthy films, we know you all love listening to us deal with those. I am your host, Patrick Scale. You can find my features, documentaries, short films, video essays, animations, behind-the-scenes footage, and so much more at QuixoticUnited.com and social media, presumably, with a similar-sounding name. Thank you all for listening. Joe, say goodnight.
Good night.
Roxanne, you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Roxanne, you don't have to sell your body to the night.
Well, you want some good news?
Is there any left? Is there any good news left?
Here's the good news. Argyle has made like no money.
Well, duh. I saw that piece of shit. Of course it made no money.
Oh, you can see that, but you can't see American Fiction. I see what the priorities are.
I asked Tanya. She wouldn't give me an answer. And then at a certain point, I'm like, you know what? Argyle will get out earlier. I want to be home. I don't care anymore.
I have no personal beef. It's just I saw that annoying-ass trailer like 30 times because I was at the goddamn theater in December all the time for Godzilla -1, and it was always there, and it just started to get grating on me. And I was just like, God, I hope this movie fails.
It has like 2 things going for it, and it's 2 hour and 20-minute runtime. Well, Bryce Dallas Howard is charming. She rarely gets to be a leading person in any movie.
Did she gain weight for this movie?
She gained weight for personal reasons. I don't know. I don't know. It's not for the movie, but she's had a little bit of weight on.
It's just trended this now that the Jurassic World trilogy is over. She's like, well, fine, cheeseburger time. Let's go.
Well, rude. Also, in Jurassic World 3, she had a little bit of weight on her.
She didn't look like I'm joking. She's obviously doesn't look very overweight in this movie at all. She just doesn't look like usual movie star, aggressively thin lady. Yeah,
well, 2 things happened with this movie. Everyone concentrated on that in the reviews. They're like, oh,
really?
It's so interesting to have a female lead. Like, I'm just like, God damn it. It's so gross. It's so gross. And then the second thing is I saw a video of her reuniting with Emma Stone on a behind the scenes thing because they were in The Help together. A movie I haven't seen yet. But they reunited and it looked like she lost all the weight. So I'm like, what?
So maybe she did gain it for the movie.
I don't think it would make no sense. It really has nothing to do with the movie at all.
All the weight. What are we talking, like 20 pounds, 30 pounds?
At most. And it's the only thing people were talking about, it felt like.
It's just not a major it's not, she didn't put on an Eddie Murphy fat suit, and do a clump.
Wow. The segue. Are we segueing right
No, because I have to tell you my crazy... so it made $18 million. It made less than 1/10 of his budget. And I went,
it's an Apple movie. As soon as it comes on, it's like Apple Original Films. And I'm like, okay, well,
I guess
thanks
it's nice that they put it into a theater, right?
And they've been advertising the shit out of it.
I know.
No good for them. I think it backfired.
They're like, here's this stupid fucking cat. And I go, get the cat out of my goddamn face. And the trailer's so long. The trailer is like 3.5 minutes.
The trailer almost gives you everything in the movie, except for the last 15 minutes, which is probably the best part about the movie. The last 15, 20 minutes is like, I'm like, you decided to make a fun movie now. You could have just done this the whole time? Okay. I don't really like Matthew Vaughn. He's Not a particular filmmaker I like.
By that you mean you don't like Kingsman
The
movies?
Kingsmans. And also he did Kick-Ass and the First Class X-Men movie.
First Class, that's where they like reboot, or is
That's
that
what
like
for the first Jennifer Lawrence one. So yeah, it's like a reboot, but like also they're still on the same timeline because of what? It's stupid. That's still yeah, exactly.
I can't keep up. So here's my crazy story from yesterday.
Tell me.
It doesn't rain a lot here, Joe.
I know.
Yesterday it rained quite a bit. And I'm working on my computer here that I'm at right now. And I kind of occasionally look out the window to the side. And I happen to see like some smoke kind of rolling around. My immediate cynical brain goes, oh no, there's a fucking fire behind my house. It's all gonna burn. We're all burning. And I go, no, Patrick. You're better than this now. Maybe it's like the clouds rolling around or something, or maybe there's like a chimney, something going. I go, there's no fucking chimneys here. It's just warm here. And I go, well, behind my place is a park. Like they have these like barbecues hanging out there. Maybe somebody's just like using one and cooking on a weirdly rainy day. I don't know. Maybe they don't give a shit here. I don't know. Well, as I'm putting that out of my mind, suddenly there's a very panicked knock on my front door. I go, huh? I kind of poke out the window to make sure I'm, because I'm cynical. I want to make sure there's not somebody there with a gun going to shoot me. There's a police officer. So I guess I could still get shot, but I'm white, so I think I'm going to get away with it. And I open the door, and he's like, sir, we just wanted you to know the park behind you is on fire, and if you feel comfortable staying here, you can, but you could also leave your house. I was like, what? And I look around, there's like 3 fire trucks on the street, and so I close the door and I turn around, and all of a sudden, through the shades in my bedroom, it's like an eerie orange light, and I went, oh no, it is all gonna burn down. Why wasn't I afraid? I'm not hearing a lot of sirens, and also it looks like nobody else is fleeing. But anyway, the guy said there's a fire, and I asked the officer, how is there a fire when it's raining? And he goes, sir, I don't know. And then he has to like go notify the next person.
I got more doors to talk to.
Yeah. I wanted to see this magnificent raging fire happening during the rain. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I looked and I saw that orangey glowing bedroom, and I was like, am I going to be the fucking idiot that burns to death during a rainstorm? Like, is that going to happen to me? Am I that idiot? Like, I'm the first person in my family to go to college, and they're going to be like, haha, look at your fancy degrees. Did it keep you from catching on fire in the rain? But I went out, and then I took it around, and it's just, I don't know. But there were like, the lower branches of some trees looked like they had caught fire from, I don't know, a doobie. Some hippie with a doobie, maybe.
Doobie.
Okay.
I can tell you've never smoked.
Some reefer was going on under the tree, maybe. I don't know.
What do you think the percentage of people that smoke marijuana is in the United States now? I think it's probably about 75% in this country.
Yeah, all the cool people.
I wouldn't say the cool people. I would say the people that don't know how to deal with anxiety anymore.
What? They just pill you up if you don't have... It's all for the Snoop Dogs of the world.
Oh, God, you don't know.
No, what?
Snoop Dogg's off the weed.
No, I just heard a story I'm not technically allowed to share to you because of an NDA. That's all he was doing on this commercial shoot.
Oh, good. Good for him. It was a thing last year that seemed really sad of him. He posted something really sad.
No, the PA had to go out and get like 90 different rolls of rolling paper weed supplies for him and his posse for like the 1-day commercial shoot. And then he was mostly in a car for it, and he just kept,
he's gonna get ready.
Hotboxing in the car. Yeah. And the poor assistant director had to go and go into the car to move the car around as the takes demanded, getting the contact high in the process. Oh, he is quite high, my friend.
That's good. I'm glad. He just wouldn't be with Snoop without that, you know? I mean, he made a name off of it.
Yeah, it'd be like Martha Stewart, not insider trading, you know?
They are 2 peas in a pod.
They have a show, don't they?
Like 15 years ago. It's an old show now.
Really?
It's been, I think so. I'll look that up too. Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg engaged. People also search for Martha Stewart Snoop Dogg tattoo. Yeah, it was said, this is from the LA Times. Snoop quits weed, Martha Stewart nixes Thanksgiving. What?
Martha Stewart can't nix Thanksgiving.
I know. That's like her holiday.
Yeah. Snoop Dogg comes on by, stuffs some joints into the turkey for the stuffing.
It's not how that works.
We'll cook this up good, boys and girls.
Is that your Snoop Dogg impression? Or is that your Martha Stewart impression?
Snoop the Stewart. Snoop the Stew Dog.
Yeah, there we go.
It's like the Fly amalgamation of the two.
God, can you imagine?
I'd watch that movie.
Yeah.
That'd be a rip-roaring good time.
I guess they kind of had the Gina Davis and Jesus Christ, what's that guy's name?
Al Roker.
Al Roker.
Gina Davis and Al Roker.
You son of a bitch. Jeff Goldblum. I got there.
I might go see Zone of Interest again.
Wow.
I know. I was like really into it.
That's a tough movie. I've heard it's tough.
I know, but like, there's just so much to pick apart. Like, it's
I've heard.
It's like a lot of really subtle things, and I just want to kind of give it another go now that I know what's. Because you know me, Joe. I went and be like, I don't know anything about this movie. My guts just tell me I really want to see it, and it takes like 15 minutes, and I go, oh, we're doing a Nazi thing? Oh, okay, all right, I'm down. Then another 20 minutes, I go, oh, they like at Auschwitz? That's fucking crazy. What do I do now that I'm like well aware the whole time? I don't know. Maybe more things jump out.
Well, I'm trying to find out when I can go see. There's one showing.
That sounds
one
about
showing
right.
in Bell. No, I'm saying of all time. There's just one of all time showing.
Oh, just like a one special screening.
Because they have the best pictures of this year. They have do a marathon of them. The only times the Zone of Interest will play anywhere around me, with where I don't have to travel more than 50 miles away, is on Saturday, March 2nd at 7:00. That is the only time.
Well, you're gonna have to go to work. You can't go see that then.
Not on a Saturday. I'm fine. But the problem is it's going to interfere with basketball.
When's the Oscars?
I believe it's the 10th, March 10th.
Okay, well, at least you could get in them before.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to see the movie no matter what, but it's when it's actually playing. It's very frustrating.
I've done my Oscar watching earlier than normal. Usually I'm scrambling the week before. But I only got one left to watch, and I can watch that at home.
Was it Maestro?
No, it's Past Lives.
You've already watched Maestro?
I watched Maestro. I logged that, I think. And I was like a snoozy man.
So rude.
I was nicer, but that's the implication.
Log it? I didn't notice.
I think it was before Christmas even. I think it was.
You did log it. I didn't notice. I'm sorry. January 6th. What a special day for you.
That's how I like to betray my country, watching Maestro.
I did want to see this movie one more time, but in a theater, because I didn't get to see it in a theater. Did you watch it at home?
Yeah, I watched it. They didn't have it at theaters, or if they did, I wasn't on the lookout
it's
for
like
it. And
so limited. Netflix did not give a shit about any of their movies this year. Like, none of them.
it's somehow still getting that. Like, Academy, just start boycotting watching Netflix films. You don't even know they're there anyway, so it's fine.
Like, if Apple can do a month-and-a-half run of Killers of the Flower Moon in a theater, like, it played for almost 5 weeks. I'm like, okay, cool. Didn't get to see it again, but I was like,
yeah, they're even doing a week and a half of Argyle. Like, jeez,
wild. That needs to play for 3 years to make back the money. $200 million.
So
Why would they drop $200 million on that? It's
Godzilla Black and White made the top 10 of the box office, and Argyle made $18 million. It feels like things are starting to get right with the world. You know?
Things have healed.
No. They're healing. The process is beginning. But I like that a 9-week movie is in the top 10, and Argyle only made $18 million on its $200 million budget.
The one that didn't get nomination for Best Picture that I've been wanting to see was All of Us Strangers, the Andrew Hay movie.
I won't lie, that one looked super boring too.
Oh, I think you might enjoy the framing and like what.
Listen,
the
it
stuff
could
they
be
do
a
in the
really
movie.
bad trailer, but it looked.
I haven't seen the
quite
trailer, so I couldn't tell you.
snoozy.
Ooh,
Well, they play that 3 or 4 times in my Godzilla movies.
really?
They're like, "Oh, look, foreign artsy film," and I go, "It's Godzilla, guys. Okay, you can all relax."
Jeez. Yeah, so I want to see The Zone of Interest, and I need to see... Is there anything else? Oh, and American Fiction.
American Fiction, very relatable. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Have you heard of the Ethan Coen movie? Soul. Well, I mean, he's not the sole director, but he's not working with his brother. No, he's working with his wife or partner, I believe.
Well, what is it? What is it called?
Drive Away Dolls.
Yeah, I saw the poster next to that one with that Big Daddy kid I sent to you.
Yes.
I don't know anything about it, but I saw a lonely Cohen on the bill.
It looks very exciting. Do you know how long that movie is?
No, I just told you what I know about it.
Oh, okay.
Poster, guy's name, the end.
84 minutes.
Sweet.
Yeah, and it's a Coen brother movie. So I'm like, well, they know what they're doing. They know they use that runtime probably very effectively.
2 hours and 20 minutes for Argyle. What the fuck's even happening in that movie for 2 hours and 20 minutes?
Well, can I tell you? Not much. If you've seen the trailer, it feels like the scenes just like they like had breathing room. Instead of like them racing through all the dialogue, they're like, well, so I had to bring you here because I'm a spy. And then she's like, you're a spy? And I'm like, well, there we go. There were some pauses that I've been looking for.
Finally I could take a couple of naps in between. All right.
It's very drawn out, and you already know everything that's going to happen up until the last 20 minutes, and you're like, oh, this was the twist. Because you know the twist, basically, and also I saw that the twist was spoiled like 2 years ago when it was announced on Discussing Films. the Twitter account that gives out like deadline headlines. It was just like, this blah 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 is the setup for this movie, and I'm like, well, now I know who Argyle is, you asshole.
Maybe originally it wasn't supposed to be a big twist and they changed it later or something.
There's no way it wasn't the big twist. It was.
All right, let's get a moment of silence so I can get some audio, and we'll do it. We'll do the dirty.
Mm-hmm.